Welcome, people of the World Wide Web. So it's movie review time, and I went to see The Meg 2. Yes, this is one I had kind of been looking for. I didn't even know it was coming about. And then I saw, obviously, initially a trailer, and obviously I've gone back to watch the original a little while ago. Um, and yeah, so expectations were a little bit high. Anybody who doesn't know, obviously, this is a continuation of the story from The Meg 1. There is a little bit more development. I'll try not to say too much because the trailer does really well of hiding a few bits. Unfortunately, it kind of shows a lot of the end of the movie and hides a lot of the middle stuff, which is a little bit disappointing because you got to spend the first half of the movie watching stuff and going, well, no, this hasn't happened, and this hasn't happened, and this hasn't happened. So you get an idea of what could or couldn't happen in the first half. But yeah, it's basically Jason Statham. He's back. They've decided to, or they have been exploring the trench since the first one. And due to a set of circumstances, you now have to deal with three megalodons. There's a lot more to it. There is one character who doesn't return, or two. Ruby Rose doesn't return from the first, and kind of the love interest from Jason Statham. She doesn't. Her character. To give you a spoiler, she's killed off. I don't know why the character didn't want to return, but her daughter is still in it, and now she has an uncle that we never saw in the first one, and he runs the kind of the whole plant or that, and there is some sort of dodgy behind the scenes stuff. That's the gist of it. Overall, it was all right. I thought, and I've seen a lot of people, so I'm like, a lot was going on. They kind of expanded the world rather than maybe just expanding the Meg aspect of it. And if you see in the trailer, you can see like there's signs of a squid and stuff like that. And yeah, I think there are things, even like Jason Statham wasn't too happy with the kind of overall feel of this movie and how it kind of toned a bit stuff down, and I think that is kind of the case. Like, a lot of people get eat, but they've done it from very different angles, and some of it's very interesting. But yeah, so anyway, let's slap up a spoiler warning and let's get into the nit and gritty of it. So thank you if you've carried along. If you enjoy this review or want to know more about this movie. So as this movie starts off, Jason Statham is basically, he's still with members of the group from the first one, but basically they're trying to help the environment, and he is basically helping like people who dump chemicals and stuff like this. And it has a kind of 10-minute scene where he's trying to help or get evidence on people who are dumping so they can get arrested. That's all good. Then it takes you back to the complex that we knew, or this new complex where they have set up their base, and you have an award show, which is where you find out what Jason Statham's interest. She died 2 years ago, 2021. Doesn't really disclose why, and I say behind the scenes it doesn't say why she didn't return. There is a theory that maybe she left acting and that's why she didn't want to return. Which the only way to kind of kill her is kill her character off. It's a bit of a shame because obviously she can never return if she decided to, or if they did the third one. But anyway, you have she has a brother, and he kind of takes centre spot with a female industrialist who are kind of working together to help explore the trench. And then it shows in the background that they've actually captured a megalodon. So this was an injured puppy that they've found, or an injured baby shark that they've then grown, and this is kind of his pet, and there's a few dodgy scenes in it. So, and then you basically have them exploring the trench, and obviously the daughter hides away, and basically as they were going to do this, the captured Meg manages to escape, and she follows them down, and then she basically meets two other Megs, and then they mate. And this whole premise of her and mating and stuff is basically just a plot device to ensue a third film is there. So you kind of know we're going to spoiler reviews. She is the only shark that doesn't die. And basically she could be pregnant, so it's obviously going to lead to more megalodons. in the third film if there is. But again, yeah, as the title says, it's the trench. So obviously they explore the trench and they go further, and this is where you meet that there is like a squid and other creatures like in the prehistoric bit of the area that you've seen on trailers. Those little kind of four-legged lizard things, they also come out from the trench as well. And it starts just getting like Jurassic Worlds, like, or Jurassic, but you know, you have all these different creatures, and it kind of takes away from the Megs a bit. But anyway, obviously, as this female has escaped and kind of hunts the two crafts with all the humans that we know about, apart from that are on the ship or on a base, they then find that there's a station down there and someone's been mining ore, and obviously it's all like awesome. There's some underhanded stuff has gone on. And then basically there's a landslide that these people who are mining there set off, and it's all like basically to give even away the female person who's kind of financing it. She's been setting this up behind the scenes. She has covert staff that work for the facility, and then there's kind of like this piratey type person that Jason Statham put away a while ago. He's kind of the main head bad guy of it, but not so much. He's a bit lackluster, I think, all the way throughout of it. He's not the best person. It does leave for some good fight scenes between Jason Statham and him and a few other people throughout the scene, but yeah, it's just they start kind of evolving a few characters, like the uncle who is coming. He kind of has a few plots of his own, and the one of the tech guys that survived from the first one, he's back and he has some fight guys, and it kind of gets like almost a Expendables one. Everybody else is, as I say, is almost expendable and gets killed in like the kind of Jurassic hilarious different manners, and eaten by a shark or a squid and stuff like this. And because they're in the trailer, it ruins a bit. This whole mining facility was a good angle, but because it was kind of where the film initially goes within the first like half an hour, you've seen the beach, you've seen the scenes of the beaches, of the sharks and all this stuff, and you know that's all to come. So you know the sharks will survive, you know that's where the film is ending, and it kind of is a bit like anything that happens on the underground base. You kind of know who's going to survive and stuff, and I think it's just very disappointing for me. I say the trailer did alright for hiding part of the story, but it only hit middle bit, not the ends, and it's and it just reveals too much stuff. I say that so much going on, and I say with the trailer, you know about the squid, so when the crew go down there, apart from Jason Statham and the uncle, there is only one other bloke, and you know he gets eaten straight away. So there's stuff you can't even connect with characters and stuff, and that there are a few little twists and surprises along the way. But I say there's just so much going on, and they're in this facility, and you trying to get them out, and you realise that there's obviously a faction that's trying to screw them over. And then they do get back onto the surface, or some of them do, and then the Megs are out, and then you kind of have to figure out how to stop them. But there's also a squid that's on the loose that they don't kind of figure out that one of the Megs takes out, and then Jason Statham like ends up taking out two of the three Megs, and obviously the female one that was captive that's probably pregnant, she gets away, and it's all over the shop. It obviously went from a shark movie to let's just have these shark, octopus or a squid, and then these kind of creatures as well on the land, and it's just all over the shop. And yeah, there's just too much going on, and it takes away from the fact it is a Meg movie. I say too many main characters having too much spotlight takes away from Jason Statham. The fact that they lowered the violence down a bit, I think, you know, I say like there's a bit where a shark's eating those people, but you see it inside his mouth, so it's not as graphical. It just the people there open and they're inside the mouth, and there and a little bit like I did quite like that angle, but it just isn't great because it's just like a ride almost. And yeah, I have to give it like I give it a 5 out of 10. You know, it is all right. It is worth a watch. To be honest, it is very disappointing as sequels go. And yeah, there was I get they're maybe trying to open the world at the trench to different if they were to open it to different movies, but they're not, because everything kills kind of each other really. In the end, like I did like the guy that returned from the first one who had the action pack and stuff, and he had some good and funny scenes. But just overall, it just you know, it just seemed very scatty and over the place, and I can understand why Jason Statham has done a review that he's done and said, like, you know, or not done a review, said that he's very disappointed in it, because it's probably, from what it initially was, I think maybe studios have got involved to try and get more money out of it, and I don't think it's probably killed the franchise now. But it is what it is. So that has been my review of The Meg 2. Hope you enjoyed it. Have you seen this movie? What were your views? Please do put them in the comments down below. I'd like to talk to other people about it, get to see their insights from it. Otherwise, I've been Cypher Sigma Screen Time. Hope you enjoyed this movie review, and I'll definitely see you in the next one.